Hello again, and welcome to another episode of the Fun Fans Podcast, the first podcast in 3 weeks where both me, your host, James Dillard, and Bailey Jackson have both been on the show. How you doing, Bailey?
I'm good, but you did have a nice fill-in. We had a nice fill-in for 2 weeks. My son took 2 weeks, one each from one of us.
Yeah, your son is my mom's favorite host, by the way. I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Yeah.
Anyway, tell Whit he has a fan club of one. But
I will.
We have a great show tonight. We'll have a real-life performance psychologist with us. Maybe we'll go from can't get right to a winning mindset this evening. We'll talk college baseball, especially Clemson, and hopefully have a chance to spell it all out, and maybe you'll find out what I mean about that later. But first, the Fun Fans are a proud part of the Fanboys Fangirls Sports Podcasting Network. If you're a true sports fan, the Fanboys Fangirls is perfect for you. Find various nationwide podcasts and other sports media at thefanboys.com and all forms of social media. The Fun Fans Podcast is the official podcast for Clemson fans.
Yeah, let's don't forget to mention Ruben's Food, Sports, Spirits, and Catering. The best wings around with 2 locations in the upstate of South Carolina, 1083 Batesville Road in Greer and 11028 Anderson Road in Piedmont. You can find them at rubensc.com. Rubens is simply a great place to eat for all sports fans, including Tiger fans.
Especially Tiger fans. It's literally it's the only way to Clemson. It's like I say, if you go the right way, it's on the way.
It is.
So anyway, we have a special guest with us this evening. This gentleman is the founder of Consistent Elite Performance Mindset, or CEP Mindset, where he has built a team of mental performance coaches who have collectively assisted thousands of athletes and high performers like me and you, Bailey. We're high performers.
That's right.
Like doctors, business leaders, and the such. Gentleman's a former hockey player for the University of Toronto, and he has recently added author to his list of to his bio. And he has a new book out titled Mindset First. Please help me welcome to the show, Dr. Cassidy Preston. How are you doing this evening, Dr. Preston?
I'm doing well. Thanks, James. Thanks, Bailey. How are you guys doing tonight?
Good. You are our first Canadian guest. We're international now.
We're going worldwide.
Yes.
That's right. So I've been saying, Dr. Preston, mindset coach. But give the listeners a description of what you do, what may be a better title, and just tell us about what you do.
Yeah, there's a lot of different titles that can get used. I often use mental performance coach. Mindset coach is a good way to look at it. It's helping people and athletes and high performers, not work on the technical and physical parts of the game, but making sure they get the most out of it. So it's the mindset, their thoughts, their feelings, their confidence, and helping them sort through that, because that can get pretty messy. And when that gets messy, then they don't play as well. And so, my day-to-day with the one-on-one clients I work with, it's very much, getting to understand where they are, giving them strategies and principles, ways to think differently, so they can just go out there and play free, have fun, trust themselves, and let it happen. And sometimes way easier said than done. Right. But there's a little bit of work that goes to it. It doesn't have to be too hard, but it's a lot of athletes get caught up in the results, which I'm sure I'll dive into as we get into it here.
Sure. So I read your bio, and you've got postgraduate degrees, sport and performance psychology, and you mentioned in an area you were pretty much a mad scientist trying to find the right answer to sports performance and psychology. But did you do anything before? Did you have a career before you got into this the speaking and the psychology of sports?
Well, my first job was being a bouncer at a bar, so that was definitely not a career, but
that's the mindset.
That was my first job technically. So.
That's the mindset.
So, and then the other one, I coached hockey. So actually my first business was called Complete Hockey Training, where we did workouts and took care of the body. We did technical stuff like skills and shooting. And then I would do a little bit of mindset stuff. I didn't really know that much about it back then. I was like 19 in a small town in Northern Ontario. But I wanted to do all of it. And then eventually I just became my main thing was like the mental side of the game. But I've done lots of coaching as, on the ice, hockey camps, or actually coaching minor hockey teams and a bit of that stuff as I was doing my education. But Yeah, no, that's otherwise I've always had that in the back of my head. I think this is what I want to do. I also taught at some universities and colleges around here as well before I got the business and the one-on-one consulting going.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did you make that transition? How did you decide for sure that the sports psychology was what you wanted to move into?
It was more like I wanted to do it versus I knew it was going to work. So I remember getting because in Canada, it's not as like golf and baseball in the States, a lot more open to the mental game, coaching, etc. Canada, hockey, it was like, I don't know how it's going to work out. And I remember people being like, well, what if it doesn't work out? I was like, oh, damn, what if it doesn't work out? Like, what am I going to do? So that's why I was coaching. I had some other things. So, for sources of income at the time, but it was more of like, it wasn't a matter of if it was going to work out. It was more just a matter of when. And because there's a big need for it, especially in all sports and
Right.
Hockey in Canada is a big one. So I work with athletes of all areas and our team works with all kinds of athletes, but the business and my career started with athletes in hockey because of my network. So there's a lot of hockey players up here.
Well, sure. It seems like a very unique business. What are the pros and cons of doing what you do?
Yeah, no, great question. I would say the pros, like I get to work from home, work when I want, like kind of thing. But then also like some of the athletes are, it's like, hey, can we chat at night? Can I chat on the weekend? Like I got, pro athletes, I'm like watching them. So it's like, I wouldn't say high stress because I'm not there, the one performing, but it's like, oh, how's they going to do? Right. And you kind of get really attached in some ways, in a healthy way, obviously. But it's a lot of fun. And it's really and you both coach, like coaching just in general, no matter what type of coach you are, is a very meaningful career. Mm-hmm. Like when you have an impact on someone's life, whether you're a performance coach, mindset coach, or strength and conditioning coach, or nutrition, like it's meaningful. And so that's, and we're doing that. We're focused on their life skills, helping them get out of tough times, deal with distractions, help them manage their anxieties and worries and things. So it's very meaningful work just from a life standpoint and impact for the people we work with.
Cool. Very
good.
So
speaking of those people, the coaches, the athletes, the business leaders, the doctors, and anybody else, I'm sure you've had some pretty cool interactions and outcomes. So what would be the coolest thing or the best outcome that you've witnessed?
That's a hard one. Definitely, I've got some pro golfers and seeing them do pretty well, and they make win a big check at a tournament is pretty cool to see. I've had some things like that, and as well as I've got two guys and they're playing tonight. I got recorded right now in the Western Conference Final in the NHL, so they're going on a run right now, and so that's been fun and seeing. And then other pro guys or just anybody, time someone gets through a slump or gets to the next level, that's always just they break through, they get rolling and get back in. So those would be some of the top ones. And I'd also I don't make the argument, but the comment that it's also sometimes someone fails and they don't beat themselves up and they can they're like, I'm okay, versus going to a dark place when they don't hit their goal. It's in a weird way, that's still a win for me because not everybody can win all the time. And when they don't win, how do they deal with it? And can they do they get into this dark place, or could they you know what? Doesn't define me. I'm all right. I'll learn from it, keep moving forward. Cause and so I'm some of those are actually pretty meaningful for me as well.
Yeah. Well, so I'm in no way an elite golfer. But
good,
I am okay though.
All right, nice.
And so when I miss a birdie putt or something and somebody gives me a hard time, I'll just say it's just golf.
Yeah,
it's a game. It's supposed to be fun. We're having a good time. But anyway.
Well, I can relate to that at my school. Well, and at every school, we're a fairly small school. Mostly kids that really want to do well. Their parents definitely want them to do well in school, and we use the word fail too much, just because you score low on a test, you haven't failed. It's not the greatest step in the world towards what you're shooting for, but don't beat yourself up and just move on to the next thing. So, and it's just like what you and I, Bailey, we coach, is teaches character in kids and things about life or whatever. So that sounds right on point, in my opinion. But So speaking of a couple of hockey players tonight, and I don't know if Bailey and I will recognize names, but in your opinion, who would you say is your most famous client?
Yeah, no, that's an interesting question. On one side, I can't, it's confidential, so I can't until they say so. So
it's the president.
So I've got a few that you might recognize their names, or golfers, but yeah, I won't. I'll just say that hopefully they win tonight, and then I know that they're probably not fine with me sharing it, but those would be some of my more famous ones. I don't share the names until they're ready to. So,
understood.
Well, so I mean, the Canadian Open finished today. The Canadian Open was.
Yeah, that's true. I was just watching that too. Yeah. There was
there were a couple Canadians up near the top.
Yeah, there's a few. Yeah, Mackenzie Hughes didn't quite pull it off, but there was
Connors made a little run at the end.
Yeah, he did. And the Scottish guy though, the Scottish guy ended up winning. So hold on. So it was fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So from our research, tell us how long. So you said you were 19 years old. You were coaching. You were doing this. You're doing that, and you knew that's what you were going to do. So how long have you been doing this? And speaking and helping people, and then tell us a little bit about your book.
Yeah, so I finished my schooling, which was 12 years of university, all said and done, about 6-7 years ago now. So in 2018, and so 6, I guess, in a bit. And so that's when I started doing it full time. I was like, this is my main thing. Because before I was doing it part time while I was in school, but school was my main thing. And but I've been pretty much focusing on mindset stuff for over 20 years. And I've done some really cool things, even when I was 17, 18, 20, with John DeMartini and doing all these different courses and things, learning about, mindset and psychology and life. And those have been foundational for me as well. That's outside of my schooling. And then the way I like to look at it with my book was well, it's now the accumulation. So it's all of this experience personal as an athlete, experience working with athletes one-on-one, and what works, what doesn't work, how can I connect to them, how can I give them strategies that are kind of very practical and get to the point, as well as all of the actual education and the John DeMartini stuff, Todd Herman, all the other books and great sports psychology people out there and performance people that it's okay, let's take all of that and package it in a nice, concise, practical way, and so people can have a nice little handbook that's informational, gives them some ideas and theory, but that's very practical, and they can go and put it into action and help their mindset in their game. So that's kind of a good way to look at it.
All right.
Very good. But the book doesn't replace the doctor though, right?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, no, it's I've had some people go and read the book and they're like, helped my game so much. I was like, oh, sick. It's great. Not that I was shocked, but until you get that feedback, you're not quite sure. And that's part of the intent. But then I've also get people to read the book and they're like, now I want to work with you or your team. Because now I really get it. And it's that was helpful. Imagine if I get, can see my blind spots, get the coaching, the accountability, the interaction, that's just going to bring it to life that much more. But you can definitely go and read the book and get a massive impact, because we've seen people report doing so. So that is good. But it definitely helps people then go, oh, now I get what he does. I get a lot of that. Now I know how you work and what you do, because it does a good job of that.
Changing gears a little bit. So you're obviously a sports fan. All right. And what this show is about, the fan experience as a former hockey player. Is hockey your favorite sport? Who's your favorite team? Do you get what's your fan experience? You get to go to games?
Yeah, I've got a couple. I was just at the Game 7 because we were in Vancouver. It was hockey, Edmonton versus Vancouver, the two last Canadian teams. Game 7, I was there. My guys got me tickets, so I was that was pretty sick. So, and then I really like golf, because I know hockey and played hockey and been immersed in hockey. So I'm golf, something different, and it's fun and challenging and outdoors. So I actually really like golf. And so some of my going down, I was in Florida just playing around with one of my pro golfers. I was that's fun. That was actually cool. And I was so I want to go to more tournaments and be live with them too when possible. But I would say my favorite sports are like hockey and golf, but like if I have an athlete that I'm working with, like in baseball, like I got pitchers and like I love watching that. Basketball, soccer, like I enjoy all the sports especially when you know who's playing.
Right.
And then from a fan perspective, I've been like, I would say weird since I was a kid. Like I was never overly a fan of one team. Like there's a funny story though. So I'm from Toronto. So the main team is the Maple Leafs, and my family and a lot of my friends cheer for the Maple Leafs. I didn't really care. So like, I was like, and I was actually a big Philadelphia fan, Eric Lindros, so I was kind of more of a player. I was a fan of the player than the teams. And then when I got a billet family, when I was like 18, this was really funny. They're big Montreal Canadiens fans. So like Habs, and Habs fans are pretty intense. And I go out for dinner and they've got these two young boys on the first night. And like, I'm not really a Leafs fan, nor a Habs fan, or any real fan. And it's Leafs Habs on. And so most people are Leafs fans, so they hate the Leafs and they love the Habs. And the Leafs win in overtime. And I just like competing. So I don't know what I was thinking, but I'm like cheering for the Leafs just to like razz them a bit, just to have fun. And the Leafs win in overtime. And I'm like, yeah, the little kid who's in grade 8 gets up, punches me in the back of the head, and runs to the bathroom crying. And I lived there for 3 years, like as a Bill family. I became a Habs fan.
There you go.
So in a way, I'm very much I was indoctrinated to being a Habs fan because of that. So I was like, if I'm gonna eat, I got to start cheering for the Habs. But so
sounds like some SEC football families.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah. So there's a story for you.
So, I mean, you've pretty much already answered the next question. So, I mean, James, I'm going to go to yours. There's so much going on in college sports, and what do you pay attention to, like the NIL experience that we're going through down here now? We have our opinions on it, transfer portal, and especially with like the mental side of these kids. What are they thinking when they commit to a school and then back out a year later and go somewhere else?
Yeah, I think, like I've got lots to say about the sports structure. There, in some ways, I think it can be helpful for them to be able to change teams. Like in hockey, they've got like 18 forwards. They only play 12. That means like 6 of them, 1/3 of the forwards aren't even playing. Like they just sit there. So that can be healthy for them to then go somewhere else where they now can get played where they thought they were going to play on that team. So, like where they're not even getting a chance to play in games. But I also think it's like the sporting system in North America in general, it's just the Wild West. So anybody go anywhere at any time. And it's just like, and it's money talks, and it's so results and money driven. The athletes are losing, like they lose touch of the focus of the love of the game and the development. Now, and then on the other side, and I don't have a highly educated, opinion around, the payment side of what's going on in college sports, but like they're making a lot of money and the athletes aren't. Like, I think there's some argument to be said to that the athletes can make some money out of it in some ways. But again, I don't dive into that too much. So, but I'd be open to hearing other people's opinions and learning more. But I do think it's, at such a young age, they're trying to create, like, and even just think of like pro athletes, like the golfer that just passed away. What's his name?
Grayson Murray.
Grayson Murray, right? So they go pro at such a young age, and when they get all this money and all this fame and attention, and they don't know how to deal with it, it can create all kinds of mental health and challenges and the unhealthy habits. And so to me, I think there's two things that I always encourage. One is the sport structure. Like in Canada, the hockey structure of just minor hockey and then junior hockey, it's such a mess. Like it's so poorly, like it's just everyone's jumping everywhere. So the structure, if we can get healthier structures that are more like, this is where you go, and there's not 100 different options. It's like, in some ways it would be healthier. That's like a wish pipe dream. And like you see some of that more in Europe and some different places. There's always going to be politics and there's always going to be, money talks, but there's generally a more of a encouraged development path in some ways. But then the other side is just making sure that coaches and parents and the athletes are supported on their mindset and their mental well-being, especially because of all the bright lights and attention these athletes will get. They'll just go from like, they're 16 and they're
right.
You're the next, like, what? Like they're six, like their brains aren't developed. Like they don't know how to deal with that kind of, or like, they can deal with it, but it's making sure they're supported with the right systems and the, to do so. But so that would be my quick 2 cents, but yeah, I'm sure there's lots we could dive into there.
Oh yeah. Well, that was, not arguing for or against the NIL, but I mean, it's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you're talking about, like you said, really all the way down to 16-year-old kids that are trying to make these decisions, and the pressure's being put on them. So bottom line, it's just more pressure in addition to choosing a school, getting to the school, having to perform, having to win. I'm going to be mad at these players at Clemson if they don't win this game tonight, kind of thing. Not really, but now then you put money in the mix, and it's just added pressure. So you got to be careful. I agree. A lot of the structures generally are built to the advantage of people that have built the structure, whether it's the schools or the TV people. Now it's the TV, but
mainly
you gotta be careful. And the kids hopefully have someone, they can trust, maybe someone like yourself, to help them out and guide them and keep them in the right, frame of mind, and just, hey, it's just money, don't worry about it, or something. And a financial, it's probably it's a good problem, in my opinion, to need a financial advisor when you're 18 years old. But you got to be careful with stuff like that for sure.
Yeah, and I'll just add, like, the funny thing or the interesting thing about sports is entertainment. That's what it is. Like the bottom line, sports is entertainment. Even if you're just playing golf with your buddies, it's entertaining. It's also athleticism, and there's healthy things, and there's life skills, and it can be like a microcosm of life. But like, the purpose of sport is to enjoy it, and like, it's entertaining whether you're watching it or you're in it. And like, and so and then like, and even at the NCAA, like, it's just huge entertainment, which means if you're providing huge value of huge entertainment, there's a lot of money, and like, and you have to put all this work in to be highly skilled and all this. So it's like these, so there is a whole business side of it from the entertainment business side, but then it's like taking care of the people and the kids. You know what I mean? They're just trying to play a sport, like, which they can play after they're done playing at the professional or high levels. They just want to go play in their men's leagues, or they're play with their friends and stuff after they're done their more competitive careers. So, so anyway, it's just an interesting way of looking at it as well.
Got to keep things in perspective.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. Like
All right, Bailey, where are we at?
Just golf, right? It's just golf.
Just golf. Hey, and like I tell James after every Clemson football game, and he's all upset because we lost or whatever, I'll just say they're just big kids.
They're big kids.
They're big kids. That's what they are.
Yeah, just big kids.
Well, I'm never upset at the kids.
I'll give you a good sports psych one for golf. I was out with some friends, and the guy's like, I really want this putt. I'm like, he's probably going to miss it. It's like, he's just way too focused on the result. He's just tense, and he missed it. So it's like, hey, how bad do you want this? Make them focus too much on the result. You'll make an athlete.
So I make more putts on the practice green because there is no consequence if you miss it.
Yeah.
You're just free rolling it.
Yeah.
And I just said, if I could just have that mindset when I go out and play, I'd make more putts. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, you can. Pre-acceptance is the answer. You got I'll send you a copy of the book.
All right. That sounds good. I need to read it.
It's like a deal. All right. Speaking of getting a copy of the book. So like I said, we're going to post links for folks that want to get the book. You want to tell them where if they want to go now and get the book, where could they do that?
Yeah. Easiest place is on Amazon. Go there, look up Mindset First by myself, Dr. Cassidy Preston, and get shipped out pretty quick. So they're pretty good at what they do. And that's the best place. They can find out more about myself at drcassidypreston.com and my team at cpmindset.com. So those are the main links. And we post a little bit on social media at CP Mindset, at Instagram. And then I'm on Twitter here and there, but I'm not that good at playing the social media game too much, but I got a team that helps from my Instagram.
Well, speaking of, I saw you have, like it said in your bio, you have a team of the mindset coaches. If you're looking to expand, I think Bailey would be he would be good at that. Like you said, he keeps me, I'm more of a client. Yeah. He's more of a,
I do some counseling weekly most of the
time. Yeah, for sure. All right. And I'm going to go a little bit off script here before we go. I also noticed that in your bio, you listed Superbad as your favorite movie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, great movie.
Baylor, are you familiar with Superbad?
A little bit. I should
Yeah.
I'll go watch it
You
to
need
refresh
to.
my memory.
I just think that means Dr. Preston would fit in well at our tailgate.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
So, Dr. Preston, if you're ever anywhere near, come to the BMW. What's that one called? The Golf Pro-Am.
Charity Pro-Am.
There, it's right in our backyard. Give us a yell. We may or may not be there, but if you ever get anywhere near Clemson, you're welcome at the tailgate anytime.
Yeah,
we need all the mindset coaching we can get, and and we appreciate you being on this evening.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I love what you guys are doing, so keep it up.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening. There you go, B. There's your second career.
There it is. Boom.
Don't you have to be a doctor? Dr. Jackson.
Yeah, I'm done with school.
All right. Well, we are extremely short on time, so we will give every folks. I used to be on a radio station.
We can go quick.
We're gonna go quick. All right, real quick update on Clemson baseball. They are playing right now. The bases are loaded. Bottom of the sixth. Clemson's up 6-2.
Full count.
So they're rocking.
Wheels are turning. All the base runners will be going on this pitch.
That's right. It's coming.
But they didn't, and they struck him out.
If, or let's say when Clemson comes out of this regional, they're going to play the winner of the Oklahoma State regional. We're going to host.
Florida and Oklahoma State just started because they had some weather.
And as stated by the commentators on the show, there will be a lot of orange in Doug Kingsmore Stadium, no matter who picks up on that one. Give us an O's update real quick.
They've won 8 out of their last 10 games. So they're 8-2 in their last 10. They're still behind the Yankees, but the Yankees are just, every year they just buy another team. So, that's what they do. But I would like to mention that the Gamecocks were eliminated today by James Madison.
Mm-hmm.
And Wofford, unfortunately, was eliminated today by LSU.
Made a good showing, I think, though.
I do want to mention briefly Birmingham Southern University. Do you know that as of the last day of May, that university closed its doors after 170 years? All right. And they are in the Division III College World Series with a chance to win the national championship, and they don't have a school that's open. It's not. I mean, it's sad, but it'll be an awesome story.
That will be.
It'll be a movie one day if they could pull it off.
So we're pulling for them then.
Go Birmingham Southern.
All right. Speaking of going, this is our second year in a row in our special partnership with WAB Sports and being the official podcast for the Orange and White Alumni Weekend. And you'll need to look into that, find Orange and White Alumni. Just Google it, find it on Facebook, look for links on our social media. But it's the first weekend in August. Your opportunity to rub elbows with some, speaking of high performers, some lots and lots of former Clemson athletes that weekend. And you'll be there with us. And we're going to have a new sponsor coming up, Ivy O'Sullivan Healthcare Services in downtown Spartanburg. Okay. So we're going to get them on the show starting really, really soon. And Bailey, got anything else before we go?
No, it's just it's getting ready to be summertime, so it'll be hot. And stay cool out there. Wear plenty of sunscreen.
Stay cool. Now, speaking of, I got a real quick PSA. I really don't like watching the news and hearing about accidents and deaths on the lake. So, folks, be careful out there. Enjoy your summer, but be safe. Be careful if you're around water. Watch out for your friends and watch out for yourself and take the precautions that you need to take to stay safe this summer. But we definitely hope everyone enjoyed the show. I thought that was really cool. Dr. Preston was an extremely cool guest.
Yeah. And your most recent co-host is headed to Paris tomorrow. So he boards a flight with a group from school, and he's going to go from Paris through Spain and back home 12 days later. So
Wit goes to Europe. That sounds like a Disney movie.
European Vacation 2.0.
Awesome. We hope everyone is in a great frame of mind after listening to our shows. Thanks again for checking us out each and every Sunday. Don't forget to click subscribe on the Fun Fan Podcast YouTube channel, as well as your favorite podcast platform. Follow us on all social media and please share. On behalf of the Fun Fans Podcast, Jay Thriller Entertainment, the Fanboys Fangirls Podcast Network, and Bailey Jackson,
go Tigers.